Stephanie Hansen, and you're listening to Dishing with Stephanie's Dish, another podcast because I didn't have enough that is just for fun to talk to people that I like to talk to about food and the world and anything else that's happening. And we just dish about what's happening today. So I'm here with I think it's fair to say you're my husband's best friend, therefore my good friend too, Myles Jacob.
I have a few best friends, but they're all honorary Jacob brothers.
So for people that are listening and listen to us, you have a cabin on the same lake that we have a cabin at Burnside Lake. And we spend a lot of time together because we have these cabins that are close together. We're both on islands, but we go back and forth in the boats. We both have elderly parents that we spend time at the cabin with. And you also have a farm that's not a technically working farm, but we do a lot of dinner parties together. I think for the first 5 years I was with Kurt, the only nights we really went out were to go to your house for dinner.
Yeah, that's true. That was fun though. That was our big source of entertainment because we were the only people that had kids back then.
So we had some epic dinner parties.
Yeah.
When I asked you to sit on this podcast with me, because you and I talk a lot about food, you love food, you actually know more about a lot of food than I do. And I said, we can talk about whatever it is that you want. What was the first thing that came to mind?
Geez, I don't know. I do like to talk about food. I don't know as much as anyone who's like in the business at all. It's just a hobby. I love to cook, and it saved me in these pandemic times. It's given me something to do.
So every day you're cooking like elaborate meals for your wife. Well, what are you cooking?
I like to cook from recipes. So I spend time looking online and just reading and trying new recipes. As I say, because of my real life job is, 90% curtailed, I've got some time.
So do you go to specific sites? Do you look through books? Where do you get inspiration every day?
I'm an internet nerd that way. I get a lot of food related newsletters and, sort of daily emails from like SeriousEats.com or Bon Appetit. Nothing super secret or anything. And they're popular big food sites. And then I sort of get off into my own little sort of types of food that I like eating mostly. And so I'll go to a place there's a place called Mala Market, which specializes in importing Szechuan cooking ingredients. They have a bunch of recipes themselves, and they also have their own little store that you can order really cool ingredients from. So I get into it like that. It's like I say, it's been a lifesaver for me with the whole virus lockdown.
So do you look in your refrigerator and see what's in there and think, okay, I have chicken, so I need to find something to cook with chicken? Or do you get the inspiration for the recipe and then go shopping?
Yep. It's the other. It's I'll find a recipe that I want to cook that day, and I'll make a grocery list and go to the store and shop for it. And depending on what kind of thing I'm making and what kind of ingredients I need for it, that's where I'll go to shop. I live in Southwest Minneapolis, and so I'm really, really fortunate that there's a lot of good food places around us, whether it's, our co-op, Linden Hills Co-op is a really good co-op. Whole Foods, Fresh Time, Lund's.
I know you like Clancy's too.
I love Clancy's, which is a block and a half from us. And we've been here for a long time. We were here before Clancy's was Clancy's. It was an old-fashioned butcher store with, a guy with a handlebar mustache behind the counter and just doing things the way things have been done forever in a butcher store in Minnesota. I mean, it's not funny. The guy had a heart attack and he survived and everything, but he sold the place to Kristen, and she was way ahead of the curve in terms of running that kind of a butcher shop. She's super cool. And she didn't know anything about it when she started. She's just amazing. Because, that must have been 20 years ago. I don't know.
I had no idea that she wasn't like a butcher when she bought it and had all that experience.
No, she and a now former partner bought the store, and he was a chef, and she worked for, I'm blocking on the name of it. It's a fish wholesaler here in town, the one up in the Northeast. I forget
Fish
the name.
guys?
Maybe, so she was tangentially in the food business, but not owning a butcher shop. And the guy that sold her the business helped sort of train her in, and her ex-partner in how to break down animals. And she took it from there in terms of establishing relationships with local farmers. And she's made it, because I can't imagine that's an easy business.
Could you ever do that, Myles? Like, could you butcher a whole pig? Or
yeah, it's not my thing. I could. I'm not a hunter. I'm not much into killing. Well,
thank God.
And I mean, no judgment. I'm not in.
Sure.
So I read about sort of what it's like to be someone like me who's sort of, foodie, a horrible word, but, into food. And they go to watch the process where you go to the farm and you watch the animal be slaughtered and broken down and, brought to market. I'm interested in it. I have no interest in really doing it or frankly witnessing it.
I know.
If a carcass of an animal, was in a cold room and, someone and was already sort of ready to be cut into market pieces, I could do that and it wouldn't bother me one bit. But the whole life to death thing is not my game.
I know too. You can spatchcock a chicken, because spatchcock's our favorite word.
Spatchcock is one of my favorite words.
Spatchcock was like all anybody talked about last Thanksgiving. Do you remember that?
I do. I don't know. Several Christmases ago, I sent out to our two kids, some ideas for presents. I wanted poultry shears. And Leah, our daughter, sent a note back saying, "There's nothing that says Christmas like poultry shears." But that's what I got for Christmas, and it was great. And I use them all the time. They really, really work.
I actually use poultry shears too. I think they're kind of an amazing tool.
Yeah. They can cut through bones. It's amazing. Anyway, so yeah, it is one of my favorite words.
I know this about you. So when we think about Thanksgiving coming up, we live in the state of Minnesota, where our governor has asked us to limit our gatherings to 10 people, no more from 3 different families. You have 2 children who have families. Yeah. What is the Thanksgiving going to look like for you guys this year?
Yeah, and it's a hot topic in our household just right now. And we're trying to figure out what to do. I have 2 parents that are elderly but healthy enough, and typically they would come to Thanksgiving. And one of our kids has 2 of her own kids, and the other kid is married. And we don't know. We're not really sure what to do. Well, I am someone that is all about being careful because of the virus. I'm not a no face mask guy. I'll leave it at that.
Thank God. We couldn't be friends if you weren't.
Yeah. So, we're trying to figure out the right thing to do. I mean, we want to have everyone over for, a Thanksgiving meal, which is what we typically would do. And we're just trying to decide, is that dumb, I guess? The reason that I think we'll probably do it anyway, depending on what happens in the next couple of weeks, is those people are pretty much in my bubble anyway. Not all at once, but in a pretty regular way. And so, the added risk is probably not that much. But again, particularly with my parents being elderly, and my wife and I are not exactly young, it's fraught with some fright. We're nervous about it. So
one thing that I read, and I don't know if this will help you at all, was that having like separate tables in sort of, you've got a 3-room area where you literally could put like 3 separate tables, but all sort of be together.
Right. Well, and maybe that's a good idea. The other thing that we thought about doing was, well, I mean, first of all my immediate family, we're relatively careful. We're not people, before the whole virus thing, we would go out to dinner like everyone else and, be around other people a fair amount. We don't do that anymore. So I haven't been tested yet. I haven't felt the need to be tested. So one of the things we talked about doing was having everyone on their own go and get tested the weekend before, the Monday before Thanksgiving. So that doesn't make it feel safe, but it gives us a clue that we're coming in hopefully clean. And that helps. That helps with the worry part of it. So maybe we'll do that. The state is now, you can do a saliva test for free with the state and not even go anywhere to do it. It's postage paid. They'll send you the kit and the directions and the prepaid envelope back, and they give you a result within 24 to 48 hours. And again, that isn't going to be fail-safe, but that would give me a fair amount of confidence. If everyone did that and everyone came back negative, I'd feel pretty good, I guess.
Yeah. And I think too, the key to that is, so you've gotten the test on a Monday and you don't go anywhere really between that and Thursday.
Right.
You kind of limit your contact, and we're in the
Yep.
same boat because Kurt's mom is the same age as your parents.
Yep.
I have a daughter who's in college whose partner is a school teacher. They're both distance learning from home, but I know they see friends. They try to be careful. Yeah. Their friend group is small. I know that on occasion they get together at one of these girls' apartments and they play games.
Yeah.
And
it's, and we have a granddaughter that is Montessori school / daycare, whatever. She's the one that makes the bubble way bigger than we want it to be. Maybe there won't be school that week. So if she got tested, you could feel pretty good about that. She's really the only one that lets the outside world in a pretty regular way. The rest of us are fortunate enough that we can work from home. We wear masks when we go into public, like to the grocery store or whatever. She's the one that is concerning in terms of
potential super spreader, just because she's a little kid.
I don't say this to put it on her, of course, but it's not without risk, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to think about, how families are going to gather, what is safe. Everybody is trying to do their best, but I'm sure for the 7,000 people that were diagnosed yesterday, a certain percentage of them were thinking they were doing their best too. And my husband, we had coffee this morning and he said, well, if 7,000 people got diagnosed yesterday, that means about 70 will die.
Yeah.
And you just think about that and it's so disturbing and sad.
That was when I saw the numbers yesterday, and I see the numbers every day. I don't even have to go looking for them. It's right there. It freaked me out. This is everywhere. Hey, when I dropped my granddaughter off yesterday in St. Paul, I was driving by, it was the Green Mill, and you can look right in the window and there's 4 people up at the bar, and they were distanced from each other, but I don't know. Maybe I'm the exception. It's like, there's a virus going around. What are you doing at the bar? And these weren't young people. God, the young people, I feel sorry for them. God knows what I would do if I was young. But it's like, what are you doing there? What are you doing there? Who goes to a bar?
It's a couple of, I think it's a couple of people. One is people that, because of the political administration and the way that this administration has handled the virus, they either don't believe in it, they don't believe in science, or they don't think it's very bad. So that's one camp. And then I think the other camp believes in it, knows that it's there, but it's like, well, we got to live, right? We can't just be locked up for 8 months. And it's kind of this esoteric fear. So they just take the risk because they're, lonely, they're depressed, they're not going to be sidelined by the virus. And, I know people on all sides. And while I'm not a fan of this administration, and I think they really bungled the response, I also think it's understandable that some people don't believe this is a terrible thing because of the way they've treated it.
Well, I know that's true. I mean, it's one of the inexplicable things about our country today is that say this isn't something where reasonable people can disagree on something and both have a legitimate point of view. This is just right and wrong. I hate to say it. And listen, we all make choices where we know it's maybe not ultimately the right choice. I'm guilty of that all the time. Just right now, when this thing is exploding in particular, to look around and see people that are just pretending that nothing's different. It's like, wow.
You can decide that choice for yourself. Yeah. But just like the part I have a hard time with is fine. Like, we don't have to believe the same stuff. You do you, I'll do me. It's cool. That's what makes the world go round. But when you're talking about a pandemic, your choices do directly impact me. And
that's right.
It's completely selfish. Even if you think I'm crazy, if you have any respect for life as just human beings, then you would feel like, oh, I should participate in this national mask mandate, and I should participate in trying to do what I can in my small part of my world, because that's just what needs to happen for human beings, even if I think it's overblown or whatever your point of view is.
Right. Because I'm going to endanger somebody else. I mean, if you don't have enough self-respect, okay, that's one thing. The big liberty argument. You can decide that that's okay. But when your decision goes a lot further than just you, wow, man, that changes the conversation. At least it does for me. I don't know.
I kind of feel the same way. So to get to maybe a lighter topic.
Yeah.
If you do cook Thanksgiving, which it sounds like you will in some capacity, what's on your table?
So what we'll do, and we've done this once or twice now before, because we are all, well, we like turkey. First of all, we don't, we do a full on fairly traditional Thanksgiving from a food standpoint. We're not a vegetarian household or something like that. So we have turkey just from the traditional part of standpoint. But the last couple of years, we have not roasted the big bird. We have braised turkey thighs because we're all dark meat lovers. And it's a simple thing to do. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of having the turkey come out right. And it's awesome. I mean, it's really juicy thighs with braising juice you can make gravy out of and veggies. And then, we'll have mashed potatoes with our own homegrown potatoes, which is really satisfying. Yeah, usually, a veggie like Brussels sprouts, something like that. And
are you pro or con on Thanksgiving salad?
I'm good with it. We've had it before and it's fine. We eat salad a lot, so it's not too special. Whereas we don't eat turkey a lot, not because I don't like it. It's just for whatever peculiar reason, I sort of forget to make it. So turkey and mashed potatoes is usually pretty special for us, which is cool. That's what makes it a nice meal. And then pies. My wife is a really good baker, and she takes care of pies. Depending on how many people we'll have 2 or 3 pies. That's fun. That's really nice.
Your wife has this thing that she makes that she's made it for me like 3 times. It's a tart, and it has like a pecan pie filling. Yeah. And then it has like a chocolate ganache on the top.
Oh, man.
I would like to request that for the next time we gather.
I will.
Please put in my order.
I take care of the stove. She takes care of the oven.
Yeah, so delicious. Right. Are you fancy about wines that you'll serve, or do you have a signature cocktail?
No, I'm a liquor drinker. I'm just a plebeian liquor drinker. We'll probably have wine, but it's lost on me. We'll just have probably white wine, but I don't know my way around wine, so I can't help you.
You're one of the people that is in my life that loves leftovers almost as much as the original meal. So What do you do with the turkey leftovers?
Usually just like turkey sandwiches. My mom used to make turkey tetrazzini on Friday.
That's Kurt's mom makes that too.
Which I love.
Just the turkey and peas and butter, and you kind of
crunched on top with some noodles.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yep.
That's
You
good.
make like a little, you can either saute it up in a pan or you can make like a little casserole.
Yeah. Yeah. We would do the casserole kind of way, whatever that
Yeah,
means.
and if you have leftover potatoes, like you could put that on top
Yeah.
and even make
Yeah.
like a shepherd's pie kind of situation.
So good. So
All that
good.
gravy. Yeah, we
Yep.
usually do like a leftover turkey pot pie with
Yeah.
all the stuff. We'll just throw it all
Oh,
together,
man.
and if we're shy of
Yep.
vegetables, add a bag of frozen veg and
You're
on your
making my
way.
mouth water.
I know, a little puff pastry dough top, and there you
Oh
go.
yeah, yeah. No, puff pastry dough, frozen puff pastry is one of food technology's great inventions. It's like you don't have to make a crust.
Oh, that puff pastry. If you actually had to make a lacquered dough like that, it takes
Oh man.
forever.
I've watched my food nerddom. I've watched shows where you watch like Jacques Pepin make a puff pastry. I was like, oh God,
Forever.
that is not my interest for what I'm going to do.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap up this show and I'd like to have you on again. So I want to give a preview for when we'll talk next. Is there anything that's on your mind food wide that you want to explore? I know you're big into the patty melts, but it's so weird talking about
Well,
restaurants because no one can go
yeah,
really.
no, I know, and my heart goes out to the restaurant people. It after my little soliloquy here about why is anyone going to a bar, I feel terrible for the poor people that own bars and work at bars. I mean, this is a terrible thing that's happened to them. They've lost their jobs. They've lost their livelihoods and their investments, and it's awful. So yeah, it's hard to talk about restaurants. You can talk about takeout. We've done takeout a few times, not as much as I actually thought we would, but we've done takeout some, and I guess it helps. I don't know how they can make it on just takeout. People that are opening restaurants right now, people that are great, I mean, really respectable chef operators, that it's exciting that they're doing that. I wish them the best.
I know Chef Jorge Guzman, Petit Leon. I would, on a
Yeah.
regular, anytime I'd be there. I'm just
How
so
about
excited
Andy
for his
Kim?
food.
He's opened up
Yep.
that restaurant in the former Lucia's. I
Mimi and
mean,
Suki. Hmm.
yeah. I mean, that's so cool. I go vaccine. Let's go so we can get out and support
Yeah,
these poor people. Man.
I'm with you on that. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's do it again. We'll figure out what to talk about in food world, and maybe we can bust into some other things like what we're reading, maybe, or
yes, love it.
there's things that are going around the Twin Cities, like carjacking.
I did read that there were 73 carjackings since
It's
July. So that's about 7 to 10 a month.
Yeah, it's incredibly frightening, and I'm not someone that is that worried about having things happen to me in the big city. But that is really weird.
Yeah, no, I'm here with you. It's been a long summer. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, no kidding. All right. Well,
all right,
this has been
thanks.
fun.
Yeah, thanks for being a guest, Myles. Jacob. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.